Hey guys, welcome. Today it is time to do the summer makeup inventory. The first time I did an inventory was back in December, so I wasn't sure if I was ever going to do a summer one or not, or just stick to maybe like once a year type of a thing, but I think some categories have definitely changed enough to make it interesting. So here we are doing a summer inventory. Do I like where things are? Do I want to change anything? And what my plans are moving forward. So yeah, let's just get straight into it. The first category we're going to talk about is lipsticks. I do kind of count lip liners in there because I primarily use lip liners as lipsticks. In December, I had 55 lipsticks, and now I am down to 36. So I did a huge lipstick declutter. Well, to me, it was a big lipstick declutter. I did one a couple months ago. If we're going to get more specific, my bullet lipsticks went from 29 to 19. Liquid lipsticks went from 10 down to 8. My lip crayons went from 8 to 3. And my lip pencils went down from 8 to 6. Definitely decreased this area by quite a bit. I went down by almost 20. So that's pretty significant to me. I just don't really use lipsticks as much as I once had or thought I had. And I know with wearing masks and things, that might have had some sort of influence on that, or it might not have. Either way, I just wasn't wearing them. So certain colors, definitely not. Like, I love me a good red lip. I always want to have a red lip, but I didn't need like as many as I had. I probably could even do with even less than I have right now. In that category and certain colors for sure, but it is continuing to go down, and I do see myself panning hopefully a couple more this year. That's my goal. If I pan even one more, I'm happy, but I can see myself possibly decluttering a little bit more or panning, using things up. So 36 to me does still sound like a lot, but I think coming from where I was, I'm just happy that it's down by a bunch, and of course would be happy to continue to downsize and get rid of more things, but I don't see like a super rash declutter happening between now and the end of the year. I just either see myself using things up or getting rid of things here and there slowly. But yeah, I'm really happy to have gotten my lipsticks down to 36. Sticking with lip products, I'm going to talk about my lip glosses. I did include lip balms in this. I don't know why I did, but I did. In December, I had 18, and now I'm down to 11. So my lip balms went down by 1. I decluttered one of those, and my lip gloss, I had 16, and now I'm down to 10. So very happy about that. I've come to the conclusion with lip gloss, a lot of very pigmented lip gloss I don't need. I tend to kind of like either a clear lip gloss or something that is a little bit sheer with maybe a tint of a color. If I really wanted to have a more pigmented look, I could just layer a lip gloss over a lipstick. I don't really think that's a big deal, and I'd rather do that than have like a separate lip gloss that is pigmented. So I'm very, very happy that this category has come down, and I still think that there are a lot here, in particular the NYX Butter Glosses. I do like the NYX Butter Glosses. I like the formula. I enjoy how they wear on the lips and how they look. I just feel like I don't use them enough. Like the darker ones, I really don't use enough. Even in the winter and the fall, I just kind of wear lipsticks more than those. But last year, as we know, last winter was a little bit different with masks and all that. So this year could be different for that. I might wear them more this year. So we'll see how this year goes. I don't see myself like actively decluttering any of them at this point. I might just try to get as much use out of them as I can. They are still good. And I do enjoy them, so I don't see the point in just like throwing them out just to throw them out, unless I really am not liking a color on me, or I mean, we'll see. I am also trying to pan a couple of the more clear glosses, so I see that coming down by the end of the year. So that's where we're at, and I'm just really happy that that number went from 18 down to 11. I mean, highlighters. I had 11 highlighters. I only decluttered one of them. So I got rid of the PYT highlighter. It did come down by 1. I still like all of these highlighters. I don't need all of these. I honestly would be happy with like 2 or 3 ideally. But I also don't dislike any of these enough to just get rid of them either. So I will never finish a highlighter. I'm just going to say that right now. I only use so much of it on my face, and I don't even wear it every single day. These might be sticking around for quite a bit. I think I only purchased about half of what I own. Like the rest either came to me in a gift or were included in palettes that I wasn't buying the palette for the highlighter, I was buying it for something else. So that's another thing to keep in mind, but I do enjoy them on some level. The Too Faced one is actually supposed to be a bronzer, but I always use it as a highlighter because that does not turn up on my face as a bronzer at all. So to me, it's a highlighter. So definitely not a number that I necessarily like, but I also like the products that I have. So I don't see this decreasing in any way between now and the end of the year, but as always, we shall see. Next category we're going to talk about, I'm kind of jumping around here, so there's no rhyme or reason for this. Eye primers, I had 3 and I still have 3. Nothing has changed here. I just continue to use what I own. Not one of those categories that I am looking at new eye primers or anything. I just use those and that'll be it. So for face primers, I still have 2. Nothing really changed here. The only thing that I did was rehome the Too Faced Peach Perfect into an empty Bare Mineral container that used to have a mask in it. And yeah, I couldn't pump it out anymore being in that original container, so I just rehomed it. But yeah, I still have those 2. And I do use up the Peach Perfect primer. I don't know what my intentions are after that. There is a mint one that I kind of was looking at by e.l.f., but I'm also not a huge face primer person, so I feel like a purchase like that could definitely wait if I ever do run out of the Peach Perfect one this year. We'll see, but it's not like an everyday thing at all. It just depends on my mood. So let's talk about concealers. So at the end of last year, I had 2, and this year I still have 2. The only difference is I used up the NARS one and have a Pacifica concealer. I do think that this is a good number for me. I like to have one that's a little bit lighter and one that's a little bit darker for the obvious reasons, you know, seasons changing. I do like something for brightening under the eyes. And even if it's like skin matching, I do find that does a good enough job for brightening under the eyes most of the time. So as long as one's lighter and one's darker and I can kind of combine them as I need to throughout the year or whatever, I'm happy with 2. Setting powders, I had 9 back in December and that has come down as well. I now have 6, decluttered 3 of them. I did receive 1 free from Influencer, so that kind of came into my life this year without me asking. I just received it in the mail, which is really, really cool that I got to try something new, but I don't feel like it's one of those categories that I really want anymore. And to be honest with you, free or not free, I just want to be able to finish one, and it's been a really long time. I think all the ones that I decluttered were Avon ones because I just didn't like the fragrance. Too old, even though that's kind of funny saying that because I have other makeup that is much older than those, I'm sure, but I know when it comes to face powder and it going all over my face, I start feeling a certain way about that. But yeah, it did come down by 3, and I don't see myself finishing any powders this year, just judging how long it takes. Just don't want any more. 1 or 2 would be perfect for me in numbers, but I am not decluttering any either. So 6 is where it's going to be at probably till the end of the year, and I'm sure beyond that. Right, for blushes, in December I had 25 blushes, and then I decluttered 3 of them. So at least I think it's 3, yeah. But then after the declutter, I did bring in 2 more. I ended up getting the 2 Glossier Cloud Paints. So because I did not really have any cream blushes. I did factor cream and powder together because to me blush is blush. But if we're being specific, yeah, I did bring in 2 cream blushes. I decluttered 3, brought in 2, so my total blush number has only gone down by 1. Now I have 24 blushes. How do I feel about that? I said in the last inventory video that I felt like 25 was way too high. I still agree with that. But my thing is, if I still like everything and use everything, then that's okay too. Ideally, I'd probably only have 5 or 6 blushes, honestly, but they're all here, you know? And I am kind of debating about the NYX blushes. I said that in a couple of videos that I wasn't sure about those because they are older. And I would like to declutter maybe 1 or 2 of those. Maybe the Laura Geller ones too. I'm kind of looking at that lighter Laura Geller one. There's like a peachier kind that I'm not sure if I love that one. So maybe one of the Laura Geller ones, 2 of those, maybe one of the NYX ones. But other than that, I just don't see this category coming down too much at all, even though I don't necessarily love having 24 blushes. I actually like all of these blushes for the most part. So I'm just continuing to rotate these, and if I come across, again, like any strong feelings of this is just okay or isn't adding any value to my life, then obviously I'll be very open to decluttering stuff. But I don't really have a strong distaste or dislike for any of these right now. So for now, this will just stay at 24. Let's talk eyeshadow singles. I had 100 eyeshadow singles in December and now I am down to 81. So to me, that's a significant number. I still have a heck of a lot of singles, but I'm just happy it came down by that much. I know that these are a lot older. It's not the most updated of eyeshadows, if we're going to be real here. I know that. I know like nowadays it's usually palettes that people are talking about more than singles, but I do appreciate my singles collection, even though I don't necessarily love having this many. It is getting better. You know, I am getting rid of a couple here and there, and 81 is still a lot. It is. And I'm still continuing to rotate through them and I'm still trying to sort this out. I would obviously always, of course, like to have less of these. I think over the years, I am growing that confidence in what I don't like anymore and what I definitely won't be using. I think there was a point where I just wasn't sure and had no idea. Like I felt like I had to keep things that were very unique or whatever. And I get that. I still have that towards some of my eyeshadows, but I do think that just over time and my collection being as old as it is, some of this stuff has sat here for long enough and I just know it's never going to get used. So I wouldn't be surprised if this did come down too. I could definitely see that happening between now and the end of the year. Another declutter of sorts. I don't know if it'll be like a huge declutter or a small one, but I do see that number coming down more. It'll be interesting to see if it does come down more than that. So we're down by about 20, 19. So I'm happy to have gone from 100 to 81. And my eyeshadow palettes are still at the same number. I had 11 and I'm still at 11. I got into the palettes way later. When I was buying makeup a lot, that wasn't what was popular. So I find that my palettes are pretty curated because of that. I did receive some as gifts. The bulk of my eyeshadows are in my singles. So do I like 11? I'm not sure if I don't like 11. I don't have like extreme excitement for any of them. My favorite is the Tartelette in Bloom. And I do enjoy the Modern Renaissance. There's a lot of beautiful ones out there, a lot of new brands out there that I would like to try. Formulas I'm curious about, of course, but that said, the amount of shadow that I have and the amount that I've decluttered over the years, adding in just doesn't feel natural to me anymore. It just doesn't. Nothing kind of stands out to me right now in terms of like wanting to declutter them because I just don't have a lot of them anyway, so I don't really mind owning them. So it's at 11, the same as December, so nothing has changed there. In December, I made a face palette category, which I don't know if I want to keep a face palette category, but quick update, I still have 2 face palettes. So face palettes to me are any palette that has more than one category in it. I had these two in December, and I still have the same 2. I received this one as a gift a couple years ago. This one's getting pretty old, but this is Best Wishes and Sweet Kisses by Too Faced, and it just has the Chocolate Soleil bronzer, the Snow Bunny bronzer, which is a highlighter to me, for my skin tone at least, and the 3 shadows here, which I actually have in my chocolate bar palette. So I just don't know what to do with this, because I do like the bronzer, right? I think that's a nice one. I don't know. So I have to reconsider how I want to keep this, and if I want to rehome the bronzer maybe, and just get rid of this, or the 3, I don't know. I'm having mixed feelings about this too. I'm not crazy about face palettes just because I don't love everything in the face palette the same. Sometimes they are handy, like if you're traveling. I can appreciate that part of it, like traveling wise, but I feel like sometimes they're kind of wasteful too. Just don't use everything the same, and it's just gonna be how it is. Let's talk about mascara. So I only had 1 mascara in December, and that has increased to 4. 1 tube mascara that's full size, 2 minis, and 1 cake mascara. So that number has obviously went up. I'm okay with this number. Yeah, I think that's fine. I don't need 4. I would much rather have like 2 or something, maybe 3. So 4 is a little bit higher, but again, 2 of them are minis, so I feel like they won't be in my collection for too much longer, so that's fine. The cake mascara, I know I was gonna do a review on that, but that might not come for a while because I'm waiting to use one of the other brushes, one of the other mascara wands on that to kind of try things differently with that. So that might not be for a while, but yeah, I have 4. I'm okay with that, but I also don't want to increase that number at all. I definitely want to start using up 1 or 2 of them and get it back down to like 2, maybe 3 at the most. Because I don't want to end up neglecting one of them. I feel like when there's more than 2, I end up neglecting one of them more than the others. Let's talk about bronzers. Sorry, bronzers / contour products because I use them both interchangeably. I'm cracking up right now. So I had 12 back in December. Now I'm down to 10. I decluttered 3 of them, and I brought in the Marc Jacobs Tantastic Mini bronzer. So that's down officially by 2. Would have been 3 if I didn't bring in the Marc Jacobs one, but yeah. I just really wanted to try that one, and I finally did. So I do think that this is a high number for me. Some of these are, obviously in palettes, and some just kind of came in as a gift. I'm not going to be decluttering any of these at this point. Ideally would probably have like 1 cream contour and like 1 or 2 powder bronzers, like depending on the season. I would like to have 2. So this number is obviously a little bit high for me personally, but I do like all of them. So that's the main thing, is that, again, do I like them? Do I use them? Do they add value? And so far they do. So even though the number's higher than my ideal, I'm still happy having them all. Now let's talk about brow products. So I had 4 in December, and now I'm down to 3. The Ulta Brow Gel I decluttered. That one did dry out on me, so I don't even know if you would consider that an empty maybe, but it did go kind of fast in my opinion. I do appreciate that this is a low number, but even 3 sounds high for me. 1 or 2 would probably be fine, and the cake powder probably don't need either, because I could just use a brown eyeshadow for that. So we'll see what happens here. I don't have any like really strong opinions right now about getting rid of any of them. I could see the Morphe one getting used up at some point. Again, no strong opinions here. All right, let's talk foundation. So foundation, I had 5 foundations at the end of last year. I include powder and liquid in the same category. And now I'm down to 3. So I did finish up one recently, the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow, and I did declutter the CoverGirl one because I just didn't like the fragrance and the color or finish. I think this is a good number. I do. Especially considering, of course, again, with the seasons changing, I like to have ones I can mix together, and I do like having a powder one in addition to the liquid ones. So I wouldn't necessarily be against adding another one in, just for variety's sake. And I do get anxiety if I run low on foundation, because I don't like running low on foundation, even though I know it's still going to take me a while to finish the ones I have. That's the one category, along with concealers, that I do actually finish up. So yeah, I wouldn't mind increasing this by 1 more, but I'm also not looking to buy one either. But I wouldn't pick up a new foundation until I ran out of one of these. So I am very mindful about only having a small amount here, because I just don't like seeing a lot of foundations in my collection being a liquid product, just kind of sitting around, and they do eventually get used up, but it's one of those areas that I'm definitely more mindful about using up and getting fresh ones, more so than I was in the past. So I can kind of go back and forth between 2 and 3, 3 and 4 maybe, but I don't really want to go much higher than that. So I am down by 2 since December though. So for eyeliners, that has also come down. I went from having 24 in December. Now I only have 21. So it didn't come down by a whole lot, but it did come down. I never ended up using up any of them. I just decluttered 3 of them. I don't see myself buying any eyeliners anytime soon, because I do think that's quite enough and has lasted me. A lot of them are getting used up. You can tell, like, a lot of my pencil eyeliners are getting shorter and shorter. That said, I don't think I'm going to actually finish any of them by the end of the year, but I do like all the ones I have left. I don't know. I could see myself decreasing this number by maybe 1 or 2 by the end of the year, because I am starting to feel a certain way towards my MAC Forever Green eyeliner. I don't know if I like that one as much as I used to, so I wouldn't be surprised if I let that one go. I don't know. I would, of course, like to see this category come down as well, like most of my categories, but I'm not like in a desperate need to like decrease my eyeliners. I might try to pan one, we'll see, but it did come down by 3. Okay, so I almost forgot this category, but these are my setting sprays, and here I have 3. This was from last December, and I still have 3. I'm really close to finishing up the NYX setting spray in the black bottle, so there's a very small amount of that left, and I'm not sure if I'm going to repurchase that same one. I don't really use setting sprays every single day. It's kind of on an as-needed basis. I do love my MAC Prep and Prime Fix Plus spray, so that will probably always be in my collection. Like, if I ever run out of that one, I'll repurchase that one, but yeah. So I think 1 or 2 is fine in this category. One that's more for, melting my makeup together, kind of finishing my look, and maybe a smaller setting spray for more, keeping your makeup set for hours, that kind of a thing. So 1 or 2 would be fine here, but that's what I had in December, and this is what I have now. The last category is going to be nail polish. So this is going to be an easy one. I only got rid of one, and that was a very overly sticky gel top coat. So I still have the same amount. I had 79 nail polishes, and now I'm down to 78. And those numbers do include top coats and base coats. I only have one top coat and one base coat. So yeah, literally the only one I got rid of was the sticky gel top coat. This category doesn't really bother me, even though that's a lot of nail polish. I did have a lot more at one point, and I decluttered like over half of my nail polishes, if you can even imagine having that much. But yeah, I did have that much. That said, I've never tried to pan a nail polish, and I have ones that are getting really old and are, some that are just a little bit left and are just getting really sticky. I do have a nail polish thinner that I use to make those usable. So I wouldn't be surprised if I got rid of a couple more between now and the end of the year, especially colors that I have a lot of duplicates of, or not that I have too many of those, but ones that are really, really old, I might try to pan. I might just get rid of some of them. I don't know. So I don't see myself buying any new polish. I haven't been tempted to buy nail polish in a really long time. I have enough nail polish to hold me over, so I'm kind of indifferent towards this number. Like, of course I would want to have less, but I do rotate through them and I enjoy using them. And if I come across one that I'm not crazy about, I'll just declutter it that way. And that's kind of how I've been doing it. I have a full bottle of it, or like close to having a lot. I'm not going to try to pan it because I just have too many for that. It's just pretty much the same amount, just got rid of one. So now we have 78. I do plan on doing a beauty product inventory as well. I do hope that you stick around and subscribe and like and all that so you don't miss out on that. Can't wait to see how this collection changes between now and the end of the year. It's always interesting to see how numbers go up and down and fluctuate. And for me, I don't buy a whole lot of makeup, but I did bring in a couple of things. Like, I added in those blushes and a bronzer, a couple mascaras. So, some new things did come in here and there, but overall, I declutter more than I bring in. So it'll just be interesting to see where we're at the end of the year. My voice is starting to go a little bit, so I think it is time to wrap up this inventory. That was everything. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you taking the time out to watch. I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!